Good morning, everyone. How are we this morning? It's Smart Start. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. It's Wednesday, August 2nd, and you know what that means. That means Women Crush Wednesday. I feel like we crush every day. Hey, Jamie. Good morning. How are you? Thank you for joining us. I'm always excited about Women Crush Wednesday because I feel like, I don't know, just happy. It's a good day. I really like working with one artist. I'm going to move my chair up. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, that's better. Sorry. So let me shout out my good mornings, and then we'll get started. So Jamie's here. Bob's here. Jason, good morning. Charles, good morning. Eunice, always great to see you. James, George, thank you for joining us. It's Women Crush Wednesday. And so, does anybody recognize this quote? I had a landscape in my arms as I painted it. I had a landscape in my mind and shoulders and wrist. Good morning, Samira. Good morning, Jacob. How are you? Good morning, Mark. Mark, do you recognize this quote? I'll read it again. It's on the page too. I had a landscape in my arms as I painted it. I had a landscape in my mind and shoulders and wrist. Good morning, Anne. So good to see everybody here. So, does anybody have it? It's a tricky one, but this woman really crushes it. So let's take a look. Let's see who we have here. I'll show you an image. Good morning, Jean. Good morning, Margaret. No, Jason, it's not Mary Cassatt, but I love that you thought it was. No, it's later. It's later. It's this century. 20th century anyway. Anybody get this? Anybody get the photograph of who this is? You may not. It's a little obscure. I like to pick obscure pieces. No, it's not, Jason. That's right. All right, I'm going to give it to you. Okay? I'm going to give you one more chance to guess it. If you get it, I'm sending you a gift. I'm going to give you another second. Come on, give it a shot. Give it a shot, even if you're wrong. So what? But if you're right, you get a gift. Yay, from Smart Start. Who's got it? Even my husband doesn't have it, and he's on the thread. Gene. No one? See, if Serena Buski were here, she'd have it, or Mariella Bisson. See, we don't have any artists. Do we not have artists on the feed right now? All right. I'll give you her first name. Helen. Wait a minute. What? No, it's not O'Keefe, but thank you for trying, Jason. At least Jason tries, people. Right? That's the important thing, Jason. We tried. Oh, Anila, do you know who this artist is? Anybody can guess this artist. Stephanie, good morning. Oh my God, Stephanie, you have a new picture. Oh, you look gorgeous. No, it's not Hess, Eva Hess, no. Anybody who can guess this gets a present from Smart Start. Give it a try. I'm going to give you another second. But Jason, I love how much you try. Oh my God, my mother just joined us. Phyllis McGinnis is on the feed, everyone. Hello, Mom. We're guessing this artist, and no one seems to be able to guess who this artist is, although I feel like Anila would know who this artist is. And Stephanie? I gave you the first name. It's Helen. All right, guys. I guess I have to move on. Arlene Joseph just joined us. Wonderful artist. Arlene, do you know who this artist is? We're trying, on the feed, they're trying to guess, and whoever guesses it gets a gift from Smart Start. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome, Stephanie. All right, guys, I'm going to have to give it up. It's Helen Frankenthaler. So if you didn't know her first name, you won't know her last name, right? It's Helen Frankenthaler for Women Crush Wednesday. And I'm going to show you exactly why she crushes this, okay? So let's take a look. So that's her first image. This is Helen Frankenthaler, Mountain and Sea. Phyllis comes into the room, right? Pomp and circumstance. That's exactly right. Plays immediately. We should do that, Jacob. I have to figure out how to do that. Okay, so let's talk about Helen Frankenthaler, Mountains and Sea. Helen was born in New York City. She grew up, I guess you could say, yes, American abstract expressionist. That's exactly right, Eunice. I guess you could say, good morning, Paul. I guess you could say she grew up privileged, but it's kind of like a lot of New Yorkers grow up like this. She grew up on the Upper East Side. She went to the Dalton School, private school, and then she went to, I had it and I can't remember it. I can't remember what college. I'm sorry. She was married to Robert Motherwell, and I'll show you a picture of his. She was very inspired by by the abstract expressionists, but she was doing something a little bit more. Yeah, I love this piece too, Mom. So I want to show you who inspired her first. Okay. Inspired by Hans Hofmann. So you see we're in the abstract expressionist, heavily male, white male, mid-century. Hi, Stevie. Okay. She's very influenced by Hofmann, and she's very influenced by Pollock. But what she does is that she takes it a step further. So let's go back to Mountains and Sea, and I want to read you something. Okay, here we go. And please comment. You know I love your comments. Mountain and Sea inspired other painters she used what's called a soak stain method. So she's abstract expressionism, color field a little bit, but she moves towards what she invented, soak stain. So Frankenthaler's approach here was to use a soak stain method with diluted acrylic paint. Acrylics gave her, although this says oil and charcoal, but nevertheless, acrylics gave her more flexibility with viscosity and movement than oils. Good morning, Nancy. And allowed her more control as she poured the thinned paint onto a taut, unprimed canvas so that it would get absorbed into the weave of the fabric. As a substitute for the action of the brush, Frankenthaler would see it get absorbed into the weave of the fabric. As the paint would flow across the surface, she had to account for gravity and the ebb and flow of the liquid across a flat surface. So a fascinating aspect of Frankenthaler's method is the blend of the artist's control paired with the unpredictability of the forces of nature. I'm going to read a little bit more because this is so fascinating. This kind of painting is often classified as color field painting characterized by simplicity of line and focus on color as the subject rather than an add-on. So color field painting is very much like that. Good morning, Antoine. Good morning, Sandy. The focus is the color. The subject is the color. As we see in, let's go back to Hans Hofmann. The subject is the color, right? And as the way one of my professors described it was, excellent professor. He said that it's not just about the paint on canvas anymore. That there's no narrative. It's not the paint on canvas. It's the paint within the canvas. The paint and the canvas really mesh. And so a lot of times you see people looking at Ellsworth Kelly and other artists in museums going, I can do that, and it's so easy, and it's just a paint color. It's not. There's a concept behind it, and it's very much the paint as the color as subject matter. But Frankenthaler takes it a little further. She was very inspired by Pollock's movement, by his action paintings, as you see, by that notion of, hi, Stephen, and Mike and Sandy, that notion of kind of that action painting of being able to work with the canvas, and he's standing and he's dripping and he's pulling, and it's all of this action. And so it's the process by which art is made. She's taken by that, and she subscribes to that way of working for herself. But she is more about the soaking and the staining of the color, which really, she really took this to a new level. So let's look at some of her amazing pieces. This one I absolutely love. I have a feeling Stephanie's going to love this. I think my mom's going to love this. Look at this. Nature abhors a vacuum. It's not only the process by which art is made, you can see that soaking, but it's also the final product as well. The beauty of this piece, the colors, the color field, the abstraction. I feel like it's all here. She had been so inspired, and then she took this on her own. She was married to a very important artist, Motherwell. I'm going to show you his work, Robert Motherwell. And he's known for these pieces like this. So you can also see his influence as well on her, this kind of, or their influence on each other, this kind of staining. But his work is primarily in black and white. And then her color. And I think they lived such a rich and exciting life here in New York City at the time they were working. They came from pretty well-to-do families, so they weren't the poor artists, so to speak. They threw fabulous parties. They knew a lot of people, and I think when I look at both their lives, I think about how exciting it was to be in New York City at this moment. However, it was a male-centered art world, and people would argue that it is today still, but it's less so. And I'm not sure I would argue that 100%. I think it's so much better. But she does break through, and that's really amazing. So let's take a look at another piece of hers that I love. This is also from the Mountain and Sea series. And she just, these pieces are just so energetic. Hi, John. And they're energetic, but there's a softness to them. At first glance, it's hard to know what to make of Frankenthaler's. I don't want to read this to you. 1 second. Let me go to this piece. No. I'm getting there, guys. Sorry. Isn't it terrible when I don't? Okay. Here we go. Look at this piece. This I love. This I love. You could see it was poured on the canvas, the staining. It's just beautiful. It's just a beautiful work. I wish I owned it. I really do. I could look at this all day. Hi, Robert. How are you? So tell me, and Joseph, how are you? Tell me, people, what do you think? What do you think so far about Frankenthaler? I want to go to another one. Let's talk about, she has some of the best quotes also. Okay, I love this piece as well. Now, she not only was influenced by Pollock and Hoffman and Clement Greenberg and Motherwell, she also had people who were so influenced by her. One male artist specifically. Hi, Christina. And I want to show you his work because I think it's really interesting to me that he was so influenced by her within the same time frame. It's not as if he looked at her a generation later or a century later. He was looking at her at that time, and you can see her influence there with that kind of soaking and that color stain. If everyone's still with me, I feel like I may be losing connection. If I'm losing connection, I'll click back in, okay? So this is Morris Louis, of course. And you could call it reductive. I don't know if I would, but you could call it reductive. I mean, look at this piece of hers. And then, look at this. I love that influence. So she has some of the best quotes. And I want to bring up a quote for you. And I think it really speaks to who she is. Hi, Derek. Hi, Liz. There are no rules. Oh, wait, Christina. Yes, I agree. These look so much like the essence of the 60s and the start of the 70s. Yes, they do. They capture an era. There's no question that it captures an era. I completely agree with you. There are no rules. That is how art is born, how breakthroughs happen. Go against the rules or ignore the rules. That is what invention is about. You know what, Jason, you bring up an amazing point. Jason says her power of negative space is powerful. And you know what? I want to bring up a piece because I think that you bring up such an amazing point. I want to see if I got a piece with the negative space. Okay, let's go back to nature abhors a vacuum. This negative space in here, people have said that they end up being like images of birds or movement or whatever. I think that that is so true, what you bring up. And I think that there was a deliberateness to that in the negative space. Does everybody know what we're talking about when we talk about negative space? Let me just tell you quickly. The negative space is the space in which, for this particular painting, that is not covered with color, okay? It's the white that you see. And it is deliberate in the sense, although she does talk about, I think I have a quote about happy accidents or not so happy accidents, and that could be attributed to negative space. So let me read this. Really great, Jason. Thank you for that. There are many accidents that are nothing but accidents and forget it. But there are some that were brought about only because you are the person you are. You have the wherewithal, intelligence, and energy to recognize it and do something with it. That sounds like a life lesson, doesn't it? Stephanie, fascinating technique. The pigment becomes impregnated. Reminds me of another form of fresco painting with the control difficulty of watercolor. Amazing comment. It's so true. The color is becoming impregnated. It's almost as if there's no difference between the canvas itself and the color. It becomes one. And that's that soak stain, which I think is just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. So let's take a look. I have another one for you that I just find stunning. Look at this. You're all going to love this. I just know it. This is from her mid-period. Let's see what I have. Okay, I'll read you a little bit about this, okay? February's turn is in her middle period and does not exhibit pure color field staining. The overall impression of the piece is quite astounding. Over 9 feet long, this large canvas has an imposing presence, and the intensity of its color is quite profound. The work does use staining for some of the paint gesture in the painting of the purple. The work does use staining for some of the paint application, but unlike most of the color field paintings, the hand of the artist is clearly felt. Can you see that? Because you could see the difference, right? Let's go from here, where you see that it's not a brush. It's the staining, the dripping, to here. Okay. We can see her gesture in the shaping of the purple and the mixture of the orange and white. The title of February's turn suggests winter turning into spring, which I think most of us are hoping for at that point, which I have to agree. And the purple seems to turn a corner to join with the green. The particular blending of color in this piece demonstrates the artist's skill, as these shades both blend and clash, mix together, and abut each other. It is Frankenthaler's genius to mold these splashes of paint to suggest a tangible space and a corporal presence in these colors. Yeah, I love that. That's really good. Yeah, brush strokes. You definitely see brush strokes here. And Christina says the rainbow palette with the white. Like Serena's pieces with the encaustic, you know what? You're absolutely right. And Serena, who doesn't have internet today, and Frankenthaler is one of her favorite paintings, has been incredibly influenced by Frankenthaler. And you can see that. You can see that. So I want to show you. I want to read you another one of her quotes. So let's go to her image of her working, because I really love these quotes of hers. She's so quotable, and I feel like I knew her, but I didn't. A really good picture looks as if it's happened at once. Actually, let's go to this picture that looks like it's happened at once. I think we all know the one. This. A really good picture looks as if it's happened at once. It's an immediate image. For my own work, when a picture looks labored and overworked and you can read it well, she did this and then she did that and then she did that. There is something in that has got to, I'm sorry about that. There's something in that has not got to do with beautiful art to me. Sorry, I didn't mean to stumble. And I usually throw these out, though I think very often it takes 10 of those labored efforts to produce one really beautiful wrist motion that is synchronized with your head and heart, and you have it, and therefore it looks as if it were born in a minute. I love that. I love that quote because it takes so much labor intensity, so much, maybe 10 canvases, maybe more, to make it look, to find one that just hits that note that she was trying to get. Yeah, it's flow. That's exactly right. So for this Wednesday, I think Helen Frankenthaler really crushes it, and really love her work, and really love the influence she has left, the mark she has left on art history, the influence that she had and continues to have on contemporary artists like Serena and many more. So I hope you enjoyed this. Please continue to write on the thread anything you think about. I'll post some more quotes because she has some really fantastic quotes that I think are applicable not only to her art but to life in general. And isn't that art? That's why we're here every morning. Smart Start, a way to look at art, see yourself, and kind of engage with yourself, and therefore engaging with your life. It's all about you, what you see, and what you bring to the artwork, and that's what makes it so magnificent. So thank you all very much. I'll see you tomorrow, Thursday, for Theory Thursday, and then I'll be on Cheddar on Friday. Have a great day, everybody. Looking forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Please continue to write in and we'll keep the conversation going. Okay, have a great day. Bye-bye.